Welcome to the Just Say Yes podcast, where we give you the keys to true transformation and healing through the power of lifestyle change, community, and faith. I am your host, and welcome me back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Benita Vernado, MD, or Dr. V, your favorite holistic gynecologist and lifestyle medicine physician. So if you have never seen me before, or if you haven't been keeping up, I am a OBGYN with over 20 years of experience. September of 2021, after the pandemic kind of woke me up to some things, I felt a calling to do something in the healthcare system that I didn't see a lot of people doing. And so I left private practice, and it's been an interesting ride for the last 3 years. But in April of this year, I started a holistic well care center. It's called We Holistic Well Care Center, OUI. And you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at We Holistic Well Care. I would love for you to just kind of subscribe and tap into all of the information that I've got coming your way. So I used to have a podcast called Office Visits with Dr. V. I actually, you know what? I started it 4 years ago because I launched it on my birthday. And my birthday was yesterday. Woo, woo. Yeah, I started that podcast 4 years ago. One thing that God clearly told me to do was to start a podcast. And I started a podcast because I thought there were things that women were not educated on or had questions about that just sometimes couldn't be addressed in a 15-minute office visit or a doctor visit. And so I gave information about general OBGYN topics just to provide some more education. I use it actually as a tool when I didn't have all the time that I would like. Sometimes I needed an hour on certain diagnoses, but I would use it as a tool and have my patients go back and listen to it so they could get everything that I had to share with them. So I've been on hiatus as I've been kind of working towards this well care center. And I have a very new paradigm, a way to look at health and wellness. Okay, are y'all ready? So I went to medical school to learn about the physical body, but I am now in residency or in medical school learning about the spiritual body. I guess it wouldn't be, I guess it wouldn't be medical school, but learning about the spiritual body, the spiritual component to who we are. And what we've always known is that the spirit does impact our physical body. So there are some diseases because our spirit ain't right. Yes, ain't right. So I've just been in a space and on a journey where, as a physician, I'm seeing that the spiritual part is very powerful and that we actually are not tapping into it in medicine at all. At all. We know that they do studies about people who believe that they're going to get better, who have more faith in that area, that they do better consistently. We know that people who have a higher power or who have some type of prayer or spiritual practice in their life, they also do better when it comes to these cancers or chronic diseases. So that is what I am offering to you through this Just Say Yes podcast. So there is a way to truly transform and heal. I'm going to say that again, to truly transform and heal, but it requires that you say yes. Just say yes, that I am ready to let go of the eating, let go of the alcohol, quit sitting on the couch watching Netflix, getting rid of some bad relationships. Think of anything, you name it. So the trifecta, I call it the trifecta of transformation and healing. The combination of three things helps or allows you to truly change your life and to heal and really just do a complete transformation. It is through lifestyle change, community, and faith or God. So let me just tell you, this is really near and dear to my heart. Practicing OBGYN and having patients in the office, I would connect with people on a very deep level. It's a safe space when you're with your gynecologist and people can be vulnerable. But I learned that there are some struggles that we have that if we fix those things, then everything else will fall into place. 2016, I saw a documentary called Forks Over Knives, and it was life-changing because it talked about how eating a whole food plant-based diet could treat, manage, or reverse, cure, if you will, 70 to 80%, 70 to 80% of chronic conditions. And my thought was, why are we not telling people about it? So I'm going to tell you a little story. This is how I knew that it just kind of a light bulb went off when I had a conversation one lunch time at the office, and there were it was, I think, a doctor, the nutritionist, somebody else, but they were coming to visit our practice to tell us about a new weight loss clinic. And it was through a big university, very reputable. And they're like, hey, we have these new services. We can manage patients who have obesity, because if y'all don't know, obesity is now classified as a chronic disease. And I think last time I checked, it was like 75% of Americans are obese, which means you have a BMI of 30 or greater. That's the true definition of obesity. But so they're like, we can take care of your obese patients. It can be a place where we can help them with their eating. We can prescribe medications if they need it. And we can do surgery if they need it. All right. So Dr. V before 2016 would have been like, cool. But after 2016, knowing what I know, that a whole food plant-based diet really is impactful and changes everything when it comes to our health. I asked the nutritionist, I said, well, what about the benefits of a whole food plant-based diet? Are you all teaching your patients about that, or do you help them with that transition to that lifestyle? And she said, no, because it's too hard. No, because it's too hard. People want to do it, but they can't stick with it. They have trouble understanding, the nutrition, where they're going to get their protein. So we endorse a diet with lots of whole fruits and vegetables, but, meat is okay, yada, yada. And so I'm not opposed to meat per se. I think we should be, the new term is plant-based forward, meaning you're kind of leaning into it. Maybe the biggest thing on your plate is not your meat. Maybe that's just kind of like a side. So that would be considered plant forward. But going back to the fact that we're not teaching people what's best for them because it's hard. So my question is, if it's hard and we know it's best for them, why don't we help them do it? Why don't we have any support, any systems, any clinics in place to help people with this life-saving way of living? And what I realized is that we don't want to do the hard stuff. Even if it's best for us, we don't want to do the hard stuff. And sometimes we don't want to do it so much that we have convinced ourselves that we cannot do it. We cannot do it. I am perimenopausal. I'm a gynecologist. All my patients have always talked about the roller coaster of perimenopause. And now I'm specializing in how to help people, help women transition without having to rely solely on hormone replacement therapy or medications. All right, Dr. V, you just took a left turn. All right, so here we go. The hard things. That's what I was going for. There comes a point, ladies, in your life where you have no choice. You have no choice but to eat right and exercise. Because when you become perimenopausal, it feels like no matter what you do, you can't lose weight. Or you have to do a lot to lose weight. And you start getting this spare tire around your middle. And it's very, very frustrating. What I have started telling women when I go out to speak or in the office is that this is where you draw a line in the sand. If you've never exercised before, you're going to have to exercise now. If you've never strength trained before, did any lifting of any weights or push-ups or anything, you are going to have to do it now. Because what's happening, specifically with the muscle mass, you lose it. So once your estrogen levels drop, you lose muscle mass. And it's hard to get it back. And so once you lose muscle mass, that's when you become unstable, imbalanced. The muscle also helps with your engine as far as burning calories. So if you have more muscle, you burn more calories, and it can help to maintain your weight. So this is a point where, okay, we've helped people with the hard things, but this is really a time where no matter what, you're gonna have to do the hard thing. And so I started thinking, how do we help people do the hard thing? In the past, what we have done is, okay, you know, you don't have time to cook, you're busy at home. All right, there is a fast food restaurant, and now you can DoorDash, you can do a lot of things to go around cooking. But we know when you eat out on a regular basis, you're spending a lot of money, but you're eating large, it's not always the healthiest foods. You're eating large amounts of fat, sugar, and salt. And that contributes directly to your overall health and wellness. So we've said, oh, you don't have time to cook, you can go through the drive-through. Now in this day and time, it's, oh, you can't lose weight, here's a shot. Now, I'm just going to say, y'all don't come for me. It's difficult to lose weight. It is. But everybody doesn't need an injection that costs thousands of dollars a year. Everybody doesn't need that. Some people do. Some people do. But I have seen quite a few people who don't eat well and who don't exercise, and they're going on the shot. Really, at some point, the light switch does click or come on, and people learn that if you eat right and exercise, you can lose the weight faster. But are you going to be on the medication for the rest of your life? I guess so, because what happens when you come off is if you haven't changed your lifestyle, if you haven't started exercising, if you haven't started eating better, then the weight comes back. So I'll say, I'll just speak for me and what I've seen. In the American healthcare system, we have given people alternatives to kind of bypass doing the hard thing. I am a woman of faith. I am Christian. I believe God has guided me along my path, and He is empowering me to do exactly what I'm doing now. And if you read the Bible, and I've seen athletes, all things are possible through Christ, which strengthened me. That's a Bible verse. There's also a Bible verse that there is nothing too hard for God. There's nothing too hard for God, but yet we are relying on things other than God. We're relying on ourselves, white knuckling it. We're relying on pharmaceuticals, procedures, surgeries, all the things. But we don't ask Him for His help, and we don't ask Him how to do it. So we have completely left the higher power out of the solution. So, yeah, I wear glasses. I really do. I can't see. Um, I can't see very far without my glasses, but I'm reading this book, Education Over Education. It's by Dr. Bobby Price, and he's a pharmacist. He had high blood pressure and he had gained weight. And so he went to a whole food plant-based diet. And excuse me, after that, he started teaching patients about the benefits of a whole food plant-based diet. But I think what he says is very well. There's a dysfunctional system making a living off the public's misery. And to a certain degree, we're being asked to be co-conspirators in our own demise. I'll say it again. There's a dysfunctional system making a living off the public's misery. And to a certain degree, we're being asked to be co-conspirators in our own demise. So the system is not necessarily set up to completely heal and get you well. We call it healthcare, but it's actually sick care because you tap into the system and you access the system when you are sick. My center, the We Holistic Wellcare Center, OUI Wellcare Center, focuses on preventive services and holistic procedures and a way of life that allows you to be well, to thrive, and to hopefully not have to rely on pharmaceuticals and other things to feel good, to feel healthy. So I started looking at, behavior change. In medical school, they taught us about that. But how do we do the hard thing? Because ultimately, root cause, y'all, there's something that we're doing that we don't want to stop doing because it's hard. I don't necessarily want to stop eating sweets, but when I eat refined sugar and really processed foods, it makes me crave foods that aren't good for me. And I don't need to eat that. And it's hard to stop. But I started to look at how do we help people do the hard thing. And one thing that was revealed to me spiritually is that God is a part of the hard thing. God is a part of the hard thing. That there are several parts of us, right? People say mind, body, spirit, or soul. So if, in the Christian faith, people often say flesh. So your physical body is your flesh, but then you have a soul, you have a spirit. You also can think of having the Holy Spirit, which is one part of the Trinity living inside of you to help you make decisions. And so what we have done is we're letting our fleshly body make the decisions, and our fleshly body, we're making our physical body try to change, but we often fail. We have to do this on a spiritual level. We have to have a yes that is not, yes, I want to do this because I want to look good in my swimsuit, but my spirit is not happy in this body. I am not manifesting the life that I was created for, and my spirit has to then be strengthened and take over. All right, so this is the last thing. I didn't think it was going to be this long. I was like, it's going to be 15 minutes. But the last thing, or I want to share with you guys, the last things I want to share with you guys is that I looked at AA. AA is widely accepted as a rehab program. And y'all forgive me if I'm not saying the right language around it. But they have the 12 steps. Let me show you. Oh, you might not be able to see that. All right, the 12 steps. So a lot of people like, the first step is you got to admit you have a problem. So the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. So for that first one, you can put in, we admitted we were powerless over food. We were powerless over stress. We were powerless over, name any recreational substance, weed, alcohol, pills, whatever. We were powerless over being overscheduled and not learning to take time for ourselves. All right, so we have to first admit we have a problem, right? So this is where the light bulb went off again. Number 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. We have come to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. So what they say is God as you understand it or as we understand it. But however you see God, what you're saying is, I can't do it. I have failed. It hasn't worked. So I have to tap into a higher power outside of me. Number 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understand him. So first, that I have to acknowledge that there's a higher power outside of me that can help me. And then I have to say yes to this higher power, to God, and say, I am turning my will over to this higher power that can restore me. Those are the first 3. But it relies heavily on the higher power. And in the next few episodes, we'll start talking about what saying yes is and why you should just say yes. But once you say yes to this higher power, that's all God needs is your yes. Sometimes people don't even want to get started because they don't know how, and I've tried before and it failed, and nope. All God needs is your yes, and he'll take it from there. He will show you, he will guide you, he will bring people into your life, he will provide resources, he will take things out of your life, he will add things to your life. But we have got to say, this problem, this physical health problem that I have, I am saying yes to. I'm sick. I am tired of having this feeling, of feeling this way. I'm tired of getting no sleep. I'm tired of being stressed. And I am chained. I am locked in a room that I want out of. And when you want out of it, God will send you the keys. That's me, Dr. V. He'll send you the key to open the door to get out, right? So I'm giving you the key, but I can't open the door for you. But what I can tell you is that God just needs your yes. You don't have to know the how. And we're going to empower patients. We're going to let them know that they can do the hard thing. They're going to have to do the hard thing. And honestly, the patients that I'm coming in contact with, they've tried this, and this, and nothing has worked. And so all things are possible through Christ, which strengthens us. We are not going to do this in our own strength. We're going to empower our spiritual body to take over and allow the fleshly body, which is yielding to cravings and bad behavior and just, I want to sit on the couch and do nothing. And yes, y'all, I'm not talking about y'all, I'm talking about me too. But we're going to learn how to say yes, how to strengthen the spirit, and how to tamp down the flesh. I know that you can be happy and healthy because you were created for that. You weren't created to be sick. You weren't created to have to go to 1 million doctor visits and pay half your income in medications. And there is a way out. Unfortunately, that's not where our resources are going. Our resources aren't a good percentage of our resources are not going into helping people heal, into helping people prevent disease. Our model right now is we're focused on once you get sick, we got you. So stay tuned, everybody. Stay tuned. I look forward to sharing all of the goodness that has been downloaded into my mind, everything that I've been studying. And so I look forward to helping you say yes. I will see you next time.